everybody. Thanks for watching the Tritano Show. I'm Tritano. I really appreciate that you're watching, and I'm so happy today. I'm always happy, right, when I do this show because I get to introduce you to fascinating people. And I've got one sitting right here. His name is Loren Fykes. Hi, Loren.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
I'm happy because I wanted people to meet you. I think this is a great example, especially for young people out there who are looking for new ways to apply themselves. And I wanted to talk about your business first. So
Sure.
you have a company, and the company's name is
Endymion.
Okay, and then you have a service.
That's right. We have a few services, but the main service is called Coochie.
Okay. Now, I was really nervous about introducing the name of his service because Coochie has, different connotations in different parts of the world, but but we're here in Japan, so in Japan, Coochie means...
So in Japan, Coochie means mouth, and Kuchikomi means word of mouth.
Okay.
So the service is about saving your favorite places, your favorite restaurants and shops, and telling your friends about them, and it's sort of doing recommendations for your friends.
Okay.
So, but Coochie also means to go out and eat in Chinese. And so, there are a few other meanings with it. And, it's always great if you have a name that's kind of silly or kind of funny, like Coochie is a funny name, people are going to remember your service.
Right.
It's not like when Twitter came out or
Right.
iPad, people were making fun of that,
Yeah.
So I think it's better to be remembered
Right.
than not be remembered.
Yeah,
So,
and Twitter, iPad, all is the way of life now,
That's
right?
right,
I got
yeah.
mine right here.
Yeah.
Right, so you said going out and eating and word of mouth. Coochie, the service is recommendations for...
Friends recommendations. So if you're going to a new city and you have a friend who lives, say you're coming to Tokyo and your friend lives in Tokyo but you don't live there and you want to find good places to go out and eat, you can open up your Coochie and find out what your friend has recommended in the city and reference that. Sometimes it's hard to get a friend on the phone.
Yeah.
Or you email them, they don't answer back, you Facebook them or message them and they don't get back right away. This is a way to sort of share of businesses and restaurants that you recommend.
So how can people access this service?
It's very easy. You can download the app on iTunes. It's a free app.
How do you spell it?
Q-U-C-H-Y.
Okay.
So unusual spelling. As you know, domain names are hard to get.
Yeah.
But we were able to get QUCHY.com and also the Twitter, QUCHY at Twitter.
Okay. And you're on Facebook too.
I'm on Facebook too, yeah, that's right. So, we're still a young service. I mean, we started the company 2 years ago.
Oh wow!
But with any company, it's trial and error. You especially nowadays with these tech companies, doing the UI, getting the interface right, the design. All these things are really important. You guys are young people. You have a very short attention span. You open up an app, and you like it or you don't like it. Delete. So
Right.
It's very hard to get someone's attention and keep it.
Well, it's true for us old folks too.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, it has to be very, very easy.
Yeah.
So that took some time, but now it's a lot easier to use, and it's and we have some core users, which is great. And we're slowly building up the service. So it's not going to be just this. It's going to be something else. We're going to build on this idea, but right now that's what we're doing.
We're here at a really cool restaurant. I don't know the name of it, but it's got a great view on top of this mountain overlooking Kanazawa and the areas that we're touring today. So my trusty tour guide here is going to choose lunch for us. Yeah. And yeah.
いらっしゃいませ。ではコーラの方、こちら様で赤ワインでございます。
注文いいですか？
はい、かしこまりました。
大山御前が2つと、
はい。
This is tempura bento. It looks so delicious, right? It's one thing about Japanese food. It's all about the presentation. They never disappoint. It's like a work of art. You hardly want to eat because you don't want to mess up this wonderful display, but you have to eat. And there are always little surprises like this. It's gonna be delicious. All right. So in Japan, before you eat, you say itadakimasu. So let's get a little bit of backstory about you. Tell me where you're from.
I'm from the worst city in the United States.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, some might compete with this, but I'm from Flint, Michigan.
Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, which was the unemployment capital of the world for a long time.
Of the world?
Of the world. It was like 26% back in the mid '80s.
Wow.
You know, GM laid off.
That is huge.
30,000 people. We were fortunate. My father didn't lose his job.
I don't think the national percentage was that high.
It's never been that high.
Yeah.
At the most, it's been 12-13%. But yeah, Flint, Michigan. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Shout out to Flint.
Yeah.
So now you live in Japan.
That's right.
In Tokyo.
That's right.
How long have you been living here?
I've lived in Japan 2 times.
Oh.
So this is the second time I've lived here, and this has been 6 years. And I lived here as a graduate student.
Oh.
I went to University of Tokyo, Todai.
Terrific.
And I studied comparative literature there, and I was here for 4 years in the 90s.
And for 4 years in the 90s. So why did you decide Japan? Why did you decide to come here and study?
It's a good question. I think when I was, well, I know the reason, I know the answer. When I was 11 years old, we went on a field trip to Toronto, I believe it was. It was either Toronto or Chicago. I don't remember which one it was, but there was an exhibition called China 5,000 Years of Discovery.
Okay.
And I went to this exhibition and I learned about China for the first time. And I realized that in our junior high schools, we weren't learning anything about China or Asia. We weren't learning anything about Africa or India or all the, it was all about basically, America and Greece and Italy, Rome and Athens.
Right. Western European
culture, and that's it. So I thought, there's 1 billion people over there, 2 billion, and you include India. I wanted to learn about these people. Yeah. So I decided right then and there that when I got to college, I wanted to learn Chinese.
Wow.
And I was lucky to go to a great high school. So at the high school, I was able to learn about India a bit and explore Asia a little bit then. And then when I got to college, Japan, I got to college in the late 80s, and Japan was very much the dominant economy. It was, the second largest economy in the world. Yeah. It was doing really well. It was competing with America in the automobile industry, Honda, Toyota. And so I couldn't decide, my first passion was Chinese. So I thought, but Japan is more important now. So I flipped a coin. Heads was Japanese, tails was Chinese, and it came up Japanese, and so that was it.
Wow, so it was like fate.
Yeah.
You just left it to fate.
I did.
But you were sort of preparing yourself in this direction.
That's right. I knew I was coming to Asia.
All right.
But I didn't know which language, and I felt that if I studied any of those languages, that I would be happy.
It's a really good point, though, and I remember being in school, and when I was a college student, I majored in English literature, but I minored in Spanish, and I always had this idea that I would live overseas, but I was projecting myself to Europe. I think that's what the American system does.
That's right.
But there's like a whole world of other people and other languages, and
that's right. And nowadays, with the way the world is now, the Middle East, Afghanistan, what's happening in the Ukraine now, Crimean Peninsula, Russia now has come back into a more prominent role geopolitically. So I think there are lots of opportunities to learn other cultures, be involved with helping to make the peace, and to figure things out. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, particularly you young people. I am sort of promoting global participation. I think it's really important. Americans don't realize it, but sometimes they can be very insular people. We have a big country, and English is a dominant language. There's very little need to use another language. I mean, if you live in Florida or California or Texas, some of the southern states, Spanish is widely spoken. You can learn Spanish, but being a big country is it's hard to get exposed to other stuff. But it's important to do so. So you are living here in Japan, and you had these sort of ideas about living in Asia, and then you started your company. Did living abroad have some sort of influence on the company that you started, or in that way?
I don't think I've ever thought about. I mean, that's probably often the case, that where you are would probably influence the type of company you start. For example, we're living in Japan, so people think I'll do an import company. I'll import goods from
I heard that a
America,
lot.
and I'll sell American goods in Japan. One of my previous employers does that. They do really, really well. But I think for me, it was more about the passion behind the idea. I was really, I felt that a lot of tourists come to Japan and don't know where to go.
Yeah.
They try to ask their friends. It's difficult. So maybe it is true. Maybe because of my experience here, I wanted to help people to understand Japan better. And so maybe, although I don't think of it that way, maybe that's probably the reason why I've done it.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching the show. I hope you enjoyed my interview with Loren. I really enjoyed it. If you want to know more about him, you can just go to the link that I provided below this video. You can read more about his background and more about his business. And I hope you'll visit his website, kuchy.com. That's Quchy.com, and find out how that can help you. Also remember to look forward to new Tritano shows. A lot more coming this summer. Shows from Europe. They're going to be really exciting.